Okay, a nice sequence for cyclists today, using our yoga stretches to help post and pre-cycling. If you did watch the running series, then you'll see that when you do the repetitive exercises like running and cycling, our hip flexors get shorter, and that creates a lot of problems, especially with the alignment of our hips if we're not really thinking about those level hips. Now, particularly with cyclists, a lot of the complaints come from the neck area, hunching the shoulders when you're cycling over like this. So it's an area that you need to focus on, because if you do have tension in your neck, that can run all the way down, and your hips are probably going to be out of alignment because of that. We're going to be running through a hatha style class, so focusing on each specific pose rather than flowing through each movement. So it really gives you time to sit in the pose and consider everything that's working within that pose, how it feels for you, how it feels in your body. We're going to be sitting down. If you do need a block to sit on or a cushion or something like that, that's going to be really handy to have, especially when we're doing some of the hip mobility exercises. You may feel like you need a bit of extra support under your knee. So block or a big book, kitchen roll, something like that is going to give you that little bit of height. Okay, so seated to start with, whatever's comfortable, even on a chair. Take your hands onto your thighs, palms facing up, and close down the eyes. Already here, think about the length, think about being light and buoyant in our seated position, so crown of the head really drawing up to the sky. Ever so slightly this chin tucking in so you can feel that length down the back of the neck. Thinking about the ears being over the shoulders, that's the most efficient place for our head to be. As soon as we take our head out of this alignment and jut it forward, the neck has to work about 3 times harder, because the head is 3 times heavier when our neck is sticking, when our head is sticking out. So bone on bone, like the spine is aligned, is the best way for our posture to be. Think about those shoulders just dropping down with gravity away from the ears. And the sit bones, the bum is really grounded into the mat. So you feel this nice connection, and then the length drawing all the way up through your head. Your belly is nice and soft, so on your inhales you can feel it expanding, and on your exhales contracting. Focusing on our breath the whole way through our practice today. Almost using it as a metronome to just keep us within our practice. Coming into some nice neck stretches now, interlacing our hands behind our head, just where the neck and head meet at that hairline. Coming into seated cat-cow, so inhale, take the gaze up, take those elbows away from one another, drawing the shoulder blades together. You'll feel a nice opening in the front of the chest. On your exhale, start to tuck the chin to the chest, pull that belly button towards your spine and drop the elbows towards one another. Use the weight of the hands to make your head heavier. Don't do any pulling action or anything like that, they're literally just there for extra weight. Inhale, seated cow, gaze up, elbows drawing away from one another. Really feel that neck lengthen whilst you're taking the gaze higher. Exhale, cat, draw the elbows together, chin to the chest. Inhale all the way up to your cow. Exhale. One more time, big inhale all the way up. And exhale. Staying here, hanging our head. Trying to release any tension that is in your jaw or that your neck is holding onto your head with, so you can fully release your head, fully hang your neck. Breathing through the back body now, so really filling up the back of the ribs, the side of the ribs. Final inhale here. Exhale. Inhale, come all the way back up again. Coming into a double stretch now, so working on our upper body and our lower body. Assess this whether it's okay for you. If you've got dodgy knees, probably not, but absolutely go for the hand gripping, or do them both. This is where a block is really handy, or that cushion, and even maybe a strap or a belt or something like that. So we're taking our left leg is going to be under, and our right leg is going to come all the way over. So whether you come into this, the cow face legs, or you stay completely cross-legged. Now what you may need, because we need this right bum cheek on the ground, but you may start to feel like you're lifting up like this. So where you're lifting up like this, counterbalancing, and you might want to put your block underneath your left bum cheek. Trying to feel this knee nice and supported by the under leg, that left leg, and you'll feel a deep stretch through the outer edge, that outside of that right hip. At the same time, we're taking that arm grip. So our right hand is coming up and over with that elbow facing up and the palm onto the body. Our left hand is coming under and our palm facing away from the body, so you can start to get into a grip. Whether you get that grip or not is not really the point, it's all about this movement. Now, once you're there, we want to keep the chest open. Rather than hunching like so, we want to keep the right shoulder drawing away from the face, down the back, this right elbow drawing up to the ceiling and back. So that is where we want to create this space. Now, if you can't create that space with the grip, release the grip so you can come into this nice condition of the pose, this nice open space. Breathing here. Feeling more and more settled with every exhale. Being mindful that the core is still contained rather than sticking these ribs out to try and shorten that distance between your hands. Keep those pulled in. Every inhale, think about lifting that elbow higher. Every exhale, draw that top elbow back ever so slightly more. Final inhale here. Exhale, super slowly release everything. Switching over to the other side. Now one side may be easier than the other, which is absolutely fine, it's really normal. Assess how you feel here, whether you want to stay with this or come cross-legged. Left arm up and over, palm facing the back, right arm under, palm facing away so you can get into that grip or coming close to it. Left elbow up and away from the face. Pulling those ribs in, keeping that left shoulder nice and open so you've got a nice open chest. Deep stretch through that left outer hip now. Breathe through it. Use that exhale to release any tension, allowing you to feel more settled. Final inhale here. Exhale, really slowly release all the way. Take that left leg off. Coming into our bound angle pose, our butterfly pose now. So we're taking the soles of the feet together. The knees are dropping out to the side. Again, if you've got those cushions or anything you feel like you need to prop up the knees, absolutely do so. It might be quite a bit of a strain on that inner groin. The other thing you can do is take these heels slightly further away from that groin, and that will take that stretch a little bit less for you. We want to keep this chest nice and open again, so lead with your chest, don't lean with your shoulders, which is quite a familiar cue with a lot of our yoga practice. So take hold of an area on your feet, your calves, somewhere that's easily accessible. Big inhale, think about this chest pulling through towards the camera, towards me. Think about that nice alignment of our ears over our shoulders, dropping the shoulders down. Ever so slightly, think about that pelvis tipping forward, like you're tipping a bowl of water forward towards the feet. That's going to engage us to be able to fold. We're going to start folding, but from the chest, from the hips, rather than from the shoulders. So you may not be able to get that far. So on your exhale, start to fold. Keep that alignment of your ears and your shoulders, because you could start to feel like you want to jut your chin out to get further down. keeping the shoulder blades drawing towards one another. Inhale, think about lengthening the crown further forward. Exhale, see if you can fold even a tiny millimetre down further. Keeping that chest nice and open, don't be tempted to go past your limit. Final inhale to lengthen. Exhale to fold ever so slightly more. On your next exhale, we're fully releasing here now, so we are going to lead with our shoulders, fully hanging the head. Allowing that neck, the back of the neck to open. Arms, just place them in front of you really nice and loosely. Keep with this breath. You're going to have to utilize that back body now because we've got the stomach is contracted. You won't get as much air in there. So feel like the back of the chest is lifting to the ceiling with every inhale. Final inhale here. Exhale, release. Inhale, walk really slowly all the way back up to seated. Coming into our lunges now. Taking our right leg forward, left knee back. Thinking about the right knee and ankle in line with one another. If you did watch the runners one, I'm going to be repeating myself. Knee isn't too bad if it's over the ankle. It just means the quads have to work a lot harder to stabilize this knee joint. And we want to be the most efficient in our movement. So bone on bone is the most strongest that we can be. So in our lunge, we've got our hands either side. They can be resting onto your thigh if the floor feels a bit far away. Like we were doing in that butterfly, we want to keep this chest open, leading with our chest rather than our shoulders. Sinking that hip flexor down to the ground. Placing the left hand down on the ground, fingers spread nice and widely. Big inhale, reaching the right hand up to the sky in this twist. Spinning the left rib cage round to the right. Reaching higher with the right hand and drawing those shoulder blades towards one another. Breathing here, reaching higher on your inhale and spinning further around to the right on your exhale, still sinking that left hip flexor down. Exhale, take this hand all the way down again to your lunge. Coming into our half split, so stretching through the hamstrings now. Taking the weight back, starting to straighten through the right leg, flexing the right toes, absolutely working to a micro bend in this right leg. Again, chest, folding at the hip joints, keeping that core engaged, belly pulling in. Gazing towards the big toe or past the big toe, that's going to keep this nice, bright, open chest. Try to think about these hips being level, so think about this right hip pulling in line with the left rather than being higher like so. Try to pull it into alignment, really get in touch with your body and how it feels, how it moves. Inhale back to your lunge. Exhale back to that half split. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, splits. Inhale back through your lunge, switching over to the other side, so taking that right leg back, bringing that left leg forward. Give a helping hand if you need. Knee and ankle in line. Low lunge, sinking that right hip flexor down. Cycling especially creates that short hip flexor when you're not really extending that leg fully. Planting that right hand onto the ground, big inhale, easy twist, taking the left hand all the way up to the sky. Drawing the shoulder blades together, pushing the mat away with that right hand. Shoulder blades drawing towards one another. Reaching on your inhale, twisting on your exhale. Still sinking that right hip flexor down. Exhale, come all the way back down. Low lunge coming into our half splits, walking the hands back, flexing through the left toes. Again, micro bended spine here. Gazing past that big toe, keeping the chest open. Trying to think about the alignment of the hips. Inhale, back to your low lunge. Exhale, back to your splits. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, half splits. Inhale, back to your lunge, plant the hands, pick up your left foot straight back, making our way all the way down to our belly, forehead down to the ground. Coming into our Sphinx pose, so we're propping ourselves up on our forearms. The shoulders and the elbows are under one another, the forearms are straight onto the ground, and the palms are onto the ground. Release those glutes, let those go wobbly, and feet can be about hips width apart. Really thinking about the energy driving from the upper body now, so these forearms and the palms are really pressing into the ground so we can feel really lifted here in our chest. It's all about strengthening that back body. Again, like I was saying at the start, when you're hunching over that bike, we're creating all of this internal movement, shortening these chest muscles at the front. So by doing expansive chest exercises and strengthening up that back, it's really going to help that opposite movement and that opposite strength. So you feel like you're pulling the heart through to the front. Pull these hands back on the mat, so you're doing these opposite movements, hands pulling back, chest pulling through. Shoulders really nice and gently down and towards one another. Keeping that alignment with our ears and shoulders. Ever so slightly tucking the chin, so we've got that really nice length in the neck. Don't forget to be pushing that mat away with the forearms and the palms. This is quite a strong one for your lower back, so if at any point you need to come out of it, absolutely do so. Either just lay with your forehead down or come back into it. Final inhale. Exhale, release all the way down really slowly. Hands out to the side, just rest onto one cheek. Let the ankles fall out to the side, toes pigeon toeing in. Coming into our goalpost arm stretch. So hands out in cactus, so we've got our elbows and our shoulders in line, elbows and hands in line at this 90-degree angle, forehead down. Tip your fingers of the right hand, lift up your right leg. Start to take your right leg over to the left, rolling onto your left ear. Again, like the same we were doing in our Sphinx pose, it's opening up the front of that chest, making those muscles a lot more mobile, releasing any tension, allowing us to keep that nice open, lengthened back, creating a better posture. Come into this nice and slowly, don't force anything here. As you're here for a few more breaths, you may be able to go deeper, but easing your body in gently. Inhale all the way back down, set up that right hand exactly the same, tip your fingers of the left hand, left foot up, spin all the way over to the right, resting onto that right ear. Now we do have a more dominant side, tends to be the tighter side because we're using it a lot more, so both sides may feel completely different. With every exhale, feel calmer here. And maybe going deeper into that stretch. Slowly come all the way back down to your forehead and continue rolling all the way over to our backs. Coming into our bridge pose now, planting the feet onto the ground, knees facing up, feet are placed about hips width distance apart, and you can just about touch your heels. So making sure the knees and the ankles are still in line. Bridge pose is all about drawing the bum up and off of the ground, opening up through the fronts of the hip flexors again. So next, inhale, ground all four corners of the feet to the ground. Squeeze that bum and lift it off of the mat. Now, really important here that your inner thighs are doing as much work as these glutes. So to keep your knees pointing to the sky, a lot of times people have quite weak internal rotation of the hips and they start to take those knees out. But as you would imagine, knees have to go one way, they can't go side to side. So we want our knees to be straight up to the sky. Thinking about this crease under your bum, lengthening forward towards the crease under your knees, rather than the height necessarily. Exhale all the way down, doing that 2 more times. Big inhale, come all the way up. Ever so slightly, think about this pelvis tucking under. That's going to create that length through the crease of the bum to the knees. Making sure the insides of those feet are still grounded to the mat as much as the outside. Exhale all the way down. 1 more time, big inhale, come up. Still breathing here. Seeing your belly rising and falling. Try to drive a little bit more height and a little bit more length because this is our last time. Exhale, come all the way down. Take the feet out to the widest point of the mat and knock your knees in towards one another. Hand on your belly, hand on your heart. And just breathe, letting your belly rise and fall and feeling it with your hand. Closing down your eyes if you want to. We're coming towards our Shavasana, so if you do need to take any extra movements, absolutely do so. When you feel ready for stillness, take the legs out long, as wide as the mat, hands away from the body, palms facing up. Let those feet fall out to the side. Tuck the chin to the chest ever so slightly again to create that length of the back of the neck. And allow your body to feel really heavy here, sinking further into the floor. Checking in with your body with a quick body scan, identifying if there's any areas that you feel tension, that you're still holding on to, and with your exhale, release that tension. Pay close attention to your jaw and take the tongue away from the roof of the mouth. And the shoulders, allow them to roll away from the face and down further towards the mat. Still feel your belly nice and soft, rising and falling with every inhale and exhale. Stay in your Shavasana if you have time. If not, start to bring some movement back. Wiggling the toes and fingers. Taking your hips from side to side, legs from side to side. Coming into a really big stretch, hands and toes as far away from one another as possible. Bend up the knees, roll over to one side using your bicep as a pillow. Push all the way up to seated. Hands onto your thighs, palms facing up, keeping the eyes closed if that's comfortable. Try try to take any piece of information, any small stretch today and work it into your daily routine, pre or post cycling, just for a nice release, even if it's literally just for you to have some time for yourself. Thank you for joining in with the class today. You should feel really, really proud of yourself. Hands to heart center, bow the chin to the chest, thumbs to the third eye. Again, thank you very, very much, everyone. Well done. When you're ready for the end of the class, take the hands away from the eyes and start to blink the eyes open.